It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to the Science Bowl. Today, a special edition. The two teams competing have won already this year, and they're vying for the chance to move on to the semifinals today. So two great schools playing our game today. And for those of you that are new to our program, we're coming to you on Zoom. Normally, we are here in our studio in Landover, and we have a wonderful game board, and our students have buzzers. Because of the pandemic, everyone is safe at home, and that's where they are. I'm in the studio, but some of the things we have kept the same. We're still testing science IQs, and we ask you to play along and test your own. See if you can keep up with these great young people here today. We still give our students 50 points just for showing up and looking as good as they do. And we also have our same 6 categories as we've had for the past 35 years, and here they are.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green Things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body Systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's Get Physical, questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
All right, in today's game, without buzzers, we're going to have the same number of questions, 18 for both of our teams. They are not identical, but they are similar in difficulty, and the team that is ahead at the end of the 18 questions will be the team that comes back to play in those semifinal games. All right, let's meet our first team, and they are from Greenbelt Elementary School. Please say hello to Magali. Hey, Magali, nice to have you back. Wave to everybody, if you would, who is watching. We also have Kenneth. Hey, Kenneth, you're looking good out there. I like that greyhound in the background. He's got spirit, folks. And today appearing because of the green screen, and he's gone on what else from Greenbelt, a green shirt. He's keying out there. But this young man here is Joseph. Joseph, say hi to everyone. Thanks, Joseph. All right, our first 3 categories, green things, zoo parade, and body systems. I've got 9 questions for you. In each one, we have an easier question worth 5 points, one worth 15, medium difficulty, and then a 25-pointer is the toughest one of them all. So if you're ready, Greenbelt, here we go. Green things for 5 points. Non-woody plants like parsley, sage, and oregano, the leaves of which add so much flavor to our food, are known as these, a word with a silent first letter.
Herbs.
Herbs is right. They're not herbs, they're herbs. Good answer. Next, for 15 points. Navel oranges are favorite fruits because, yes, they do have a belly button. That's what a navel is. And they don't have any of these to hinder your enjoyment.
Cores? Seeds? Well, they do have seeds. Cores? Is it cores?
Seeds. I think it might be seeds.
They do have seeds.
They do have seeds?
No seeds. Perfect. And now we have a 25-point question for you in green things. Teams, there is a pea, as in Paul, a pea initial tissue in the interior of a plant stem known as the pith, P-I-T-H. Well, if that pith is soft and spongy, it goes by this other P initialed name, the same one that orange juice claims to have some of, a lot of, or none of when you buy it.
Pulp.
Pulp, yes. No pulp or lots of pulp. Good. Let's go to the zoo. Some of you might have seen that animated movie called Zootopia, where there were animals running the city. Well, living in Zootopia proved difficult when tensions between these two groups, both P initialed, represented by a fox and a rabbit, erupted.
Prey and predator?
That's it. Thank you, Kenneth. Predator and prey, perfect. We have a visual for you for 15 points. I want you to look at this picture. If you ask a new, G-N-U, what's new, N-E-W, he might say that most folks know us better by our other name, after a whole herd of us trampled Mufasa in The Lion King.
Oh? Wildebeest? I think it's wildebeest.
That's right, a whole herd of wildebeest. And in South Africa, that is a South African name. New, G-N-U, is another name for wildebeest. You guys have gotten them all right so far. Let's go for 6 in a row. 25 points in the zoo. In this era of takeout meals, because of the pandemic, people are not going to restaurants, they're taking meals out. One of those popular containers, it's normally black, is named for the body covering of what mollusk?
A shell?
Is an octopus, guys, an octopus is a mollusk, right?
I think.
I think so.
Then
Maybe
what's its skin called?
You guys are banding about some good ideas there. It's called a clamshell. It's called a clamshell because it opens up like a bivalve. Let's go to the body. Body systems. For 5 points. If you tell a story that you and your listeners know is made up, it is said to be done with this body part stuck in your cheek.
Wait.
Any ideas?
People know that the story is not right, and you are telling it with this body part supposedly stuck in your cheek. It's called your tongue. It's called tongue in cheek. Let's try the 15-point question. Medicines advertised on television often tell you what they're good for by their names, like Osteobiflex is specifically useful in treating these body parts that can get creaky in old age.
Skin?
Elbows?
Say it again.
Elbow?
Maybe knees. I know you can't. Many older people have knee problems.
Give me a generic term for body parts like that.
Joints?
Joints.
Joints?
Joints, that's it, right. Joints is what we want. For 25 points, last question. Good job, guys. 25 points in the body. Last one, big one, before we take our break with you. This dreaded disease called distemper by First Lady Abigail Adams way back when, and causing terrible pustules and scarring, had a vaccine that involved scratching the skin with a serum that actually gave people a mild version of the disease. Its name comes from the tiny holes it left on the vaccinated person's arm. Can you name that disease?
Polio?
Your clue there-
Chicken pox?
Say it
Chicken
again?
pox? Smallpox or chicken pox?
Which one?
Smallpox?
Yeah, it's smallpox. All right, that's the way to do it. All right, Magali, because it said tiny holes, smallpox. That was your clue. Nice work. To end this first round, that smallpox did it for you. 155 points. Congratulations, guys. It is now time to meet the team from Tulip Grove Elementary School. Yes, just like Greenbelt, they won their first competition, and they're here today to decide who moves on to the semifinals. A great team of 3 outstanding young ladies. Here they are. Would you please say hello to everybody? Please, Chloe, would you wave to everybody? Hey, Chloe, nice to have you back. And Addison. Addison is down there in her nicely decorated bedroom. And also, we have a 4th grader. Boy, is she good. Peyton, nice to have you back, if you could wave to everybody. All right, girls, here we go. We're going to start out with your questions in green things. Here's your 5-point question. When you buy vegetables for your dinner, you might grab a bunch of carrots, some spears of asparagus, and if you wanted cabbage or lettuce or cauliflower, those are all described by what cephalic term?
Head?
A head, that's right. You have a head of lettuce, head of cabbage, or a head of cauliflower. Perfect. All right, for 15 points in green things. Although the spines on a cactus are actually the plant's leaves, they are useful only as defense against predators. Because without chlorophyll, they're not capable of producing food for the plant through what process?
What do you guys?
I
Is
can
it photosynthesis?
Photosynthesis?
say it again.
Photosynthesis?
It is photosynthesis. Yes, the photosynthesis is actually performed in the stem, which is green, but not in the needles or the spines. Good answer, girls. Here's your 25-point question in green things. When you cut open an apple or an avocado or a potato, if you don't eat it soon, it begins to turn brown through what O-initialed process?
Oxidation.
Oxidation. Perfect answer. That's the 25-pointer. You got it. Super. Let's go to the zoo. Some of you might have seen an animated movie called A Bug's Life. It was really good. It was about ants and grasshoppers and how industrious the ants are and how lazy the grasshoppers were. Here's your question. While some of the stars of the animated movie A Bug's Life were actual bugs, the majority, like the ants and the grasshoppers and the fleas, were more technically these.
What do you guys think?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. While some of the stars of the animated movie A Bug's Life were actual bugs, the majority, like ants and grasshoppers and fleas, were more technically these.
Humans?
Vertebrates?
Insects. Insects. Not all insects are not bugs. There are some true bugs like stink bugs, but most of the other ones belong to orders, and they are more technically called insects. Our judge is an entomologist. She will not be happy that we didn't get that one right. Let's go to zoo for 15 points. Birds have, and dinosaurs did have, bones known as medullary bones, filled with a spongy substance that was the source of this chemical element that makes up the shells of the eggs the birds and the dinosaurs laid.
What do you guys think?
Marrow?
Excuse me?
Like,
The chemical which the shells are made.
I think it's marrow.
Correct answer there was calcium. There's calcium coming out of the bones, and they use that. That's why bones in birds are hollow, because a lot of that calcium is harvested to make the shells, which is why birds are light and they can fly. Here we go. 25 points for zoo, a visual. Everybody's going to look at a picture, and I know you're going to recognize this. This is the Tasmanian devil, Taz of Warner Brothers cartoon fame. It is the only carnivorous member of this group of Australian animals that includes the koalas and the wombats and the kangaroos. Name that group.
What do you guys think?
The group of animals in Australia.
I feel like I've heard of it.
I know you've heard of it. As soon as I tell you, you're going to say, oh, I know that. You know, they are the pouched animals. Those are the marsupials. The marsupials are the pouched animals. Let's go to the body system. Your last three questions before we take our break. For 5 points, and this doesn't apply to you, but if you didn't study for today's Science Bowl game, and you came in just hope for the best, you were going to wing it, you could say that you're going to play it by what? Name a sense organ.
Ear?
Ear. I'm going to just play it by ear, you know? See if I can kind of muster my way through this and fake it. That doesn't usually work. Ear is right. Good answer. Here's the 15-point question in body. When performing the Heimlich maneuver to expel a foreign body stuck in your windpipe, oftentimes this happens in a restaurant, even at Thanksgiving dinner, someone's choking. You should use your fist to push against this initial part of your body.
Appendix?
Not appendix.
E?
Your abdomen. Your abdomen was the right answer. You put your fist in front of the abdomen and you pull and you try to get that diaphragm muscle to push up to dislodge that piece of food. Let's get this last one for 25 points in body. Well, there are now vaccines for COVID-19 and influenza and shingles, all caused by different viruses. There are also vaccines for diseases like cholera, which is caused by one of these that is spread from human feces into water that people drink. Cholera is not spread by a virus, but rather by one of these.
Bacteria?
Bacteria, that's it. 25 points. You needed that one. Good answer, girls. That means you end this first round with 125 points. Tulip Grove, nicely done. Nicely done. Nice to have you here now with the time when we talk to the players a little bit about themselves and their schools. And let's go to our captain and, Magali. Tell us about Greenbelt. What do you like about Greenbelt Elementary? Even though you're not physically there, what do you like about it?
Well, the teachers are very smart and the students are very dedicated to learn, and it's just a very nice environment to learn.
What a nice environment. How beautifully said. And that is exactly what school should be. You want to feel that you're welcome, you're going to have a good time, and each teacher cares about you as an individual. And you have high hopes, not just for winning today, but also you'd like to one day stand at the west front of the Capitol and take the oath of office as the next president of the United States. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. And I also won presidency last year, but this year I tried again, but I lost, sadly.
Oh, but you know what? That's part of life. A lot of times you try, and you don't make it. But finally, if you persevere, our President Joe Biden, he's tried 3 times. Finally, on his 3rd try, he got it. So, if you think you got it, if you think you're good for the country, stick with it. You're obviously a good captain here. Nice to have you back, Magali. Let's talk to your teammates. Let's talk to Kenneth. Hey, Kenneth. Kenneth, nice to have you back with us today. The guy is always smiling. And are you having fun here?
Yep.
Well, we're having fun with you here. And you have some aspirations too. You told me last time that maybe you'd like to grow up to be a chef. Is that right?
Possibly.
Possibly. What kind of food do you like to make now that people like to eat?
I actually haven't cooked in a while, but I used to make a mean grilled cheese.
A mean grilled cheese. I like that. I like it a lot. Sometimes people put like a little bit of chipped ham in there with the grilled cheese. Oh, that makes it good too. What did you do to prepare for today?
So I mostly practice. So I chose 2 of the topics on the board to study for myself so that I would be prepared in case something of that sort should come up. A question like what I researched should come up. And who knows, it might still come up.
Well, you answered a couple good questions in the first round, so obviously you studied some of those categories, the green things and the animals and the body systems, because you did a nice job. Nice to have you back. Let's talk to your other teammate there, Joseph. Joseph, would you float in for us, please? Yes, indeed. This looks like a science fiction movie, but, Joseph, he's a great guy. Joseph, tell us, your brother, you said, was on the show before, right? And what's he doing now?
Middle school.
Middle school, yeah. And Greenbelt Middle School, if he's there, they did win the county championship once before, and Greenbelt has come close. This could be your year. And Joseph, what do you like to do in your spare time?
I like to do Scratch, which is a website, and sometimes I'll do other stuff.
That's cool. Well, whatever you're doing, it's working. Certainly you know an awful lot about science, and we're impressed, and just keep showing us all that you know. All right, let's get back into the game, and we're headed into the second part here. Let's get you all back up on the screen, and off we go to the second part. We have 9 more questions for you. First 3 from Let's Get Physical, so here we go. If you open a bag of potato chips or other snacks and find that they're stale, it could be that this gas, which guarantees freshness, somehow leaked out. It's the same gas that makes up 4/5 of the air we breathe. Name the gas.
Nitrogen?
It is nitrogen. Indeed, it is nitrogen. 15 points. Let's get physical. Here we go. the rocket that powered America's astronauts to the moon starting in 1969 with the launch of Apollo 11, was named for this planet that was recently visible and looking like it was right next to Jupiter. Both it and Jupiter are the solar system's largest planets.
Saturn.
Oh, you all knew that one. I love your preparation. Here's your 25-point question. Listen carefully. Long question, simple answer. If your science fair experiment, and I know you do them, is to recreate Boyle's famous experiment with gases, you too would show that if the volume of a gas in a container is doubled, the pressure inside is reduced by half. The reverse is also true. If the gas's pressure is halved, it will occupy twice the volume. That's only true, however, if this T initialed variable remains the same. What has to remain the same in the experiment when we're talking about volume and pressure? Yes, what's the T initialed word?
Temperature?
Temperature, perfect, yes. And in many experiments, temperature is the variable that must be controlled. I like it you're clapping for yourselves, you should. Here's your potpourri question for 5 points. I like this question. Precious stones did have roles in the movie The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy didn't wear a diamond, but she did wear ruby slippers on her way to what city?
Emerald?
Yeah,
Emerald City. You're in an Emerald City up there. You got green all over the place. Emerald is right. Here's your 15-point question. Most vaccines are injected, but the Sabin polio vaccine was taken by mouth, a method referred to by this O initialed name.
Oral?
Oral, that's it. Thank you, Kenneth. And for 25 points, I have another picture for you. The disembodied hands are clapping back there. Here's your potpourri for 25. This historic painting records one of the first ever of these A-initialed science classes in a medical school, a science that studies all the organs and parts of the human body. A-initialed.
Biology?
A-initialed.
Oh.
What do you guys think?
Huh?
Wait. Can you please repeat the question?
The painting records one of the first ever of these A-initialed science classes in a medical school, a science that studies all the organs and parts of the human body.
Okay.
Amputation?
Good try. Anatomy. Anatomy is the right answer. Good try. Still a very nice round there for you. We have 3 more questions for you in Dateline. In 1859, these rapidly reproducing mammals, long associated with Easter, were introduced to Australia, where without natural predators, they quickly got out of control, wrecking the food web.
Bunnies?
Bunnies?
Bunnies, yeah, bunnies, rabbits. Those rabbits were everywhere. For 15 points, listen carefully, multiple choice. A herpetologist recently tipped off the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that a group in China was smuggling which of the following creatures out of America to be sold in China as pets? Were they smuggling out eastern box turtles, goldfish, or finch birds?
I'm thinking the first one. It might be box turtles because I think those are endangered or something. And people do have turtles for pets, or it could be finches. But goldfish, I know many types of fish don't even come from the U.S. Like, yeah, a lot of fish, like the fish people get, come from tropical regions because they're more colorful and stuff. So I'm not sure. I think it's the box turtles, but it might be the finches.
All right. It is indeed the box turtle, because the main clue there was herpetologists. Herpetologists study reptiles and amphibians. Good choice there. That means you're doing very well. You have one more question, a 25-pointer. The plant scientist Luther Burbank, who developed a cactus with no spines on it so cattle can eat it, was influenced as a small boy, about your age, to pursue plants as a career after he read a book called Variations of Plants and Animals Under Domestication. That book was written by what other scientist, best known for his book called On Origin of Species?
Oh, I've watched videos about this. He studied peas, I think, a lot.
Gregor Mendel?
Gregor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gregor Mendel.
Gregor Mendel, he did study peas, but On the Origin of Species was written by Charles Darwin, who studied evolution. All right, which means you end the game with a very good 240 points. We'll be back with you at the end of the game to see if that was enough to send you to the semifinals. Congratulations, guys. All right, let's find out a little bit more about the young ladies who are playing for Tulip Grove today. And let's start with Chloe. And Chloe, tell us a little bit about Tulip Grove. I know we talked about it before. What is it you like best about that school, even though you're not physically there?
Well, even though we're not there this year, definitely last year, the building was a great place. And like all the new amenities that we had, it was definitely a fun thing to have, at least for 1 year.
For 1 year, we hope it's not more than that. We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary in March since we have been out of school. And I think we're all, what's the phrase, chomping at the bit. We want to get back in there. We want to resume our normal lives. Let's hope all these vaccines make that possible soon. Tell me a little bit about what you're dreaming about for your future.
Well, I'm not quite sure where I want to be, but I know that if I want to get a master in like science or math.
I remember you telling me before that math and science are your favorite subjects, and find something in life that you like and that you're good at, and you'll be surprised that people pay you to do it because you would have done it anyhow because you enjoy it so much. Sounds like you're headed in that direction. Let's talk to your teammates there. Let's go over to Addison. Addison, nice to have you with us again. And this is her second year with us. And does it get easier each time?
Well, that depends. Like, it depends on what I'm studying or what I already know.
Oh, isn't that the truth? Yes, it's like sometimes you're watching Jeopardy and the categories come up and boy, you're thinking French literature, I know nothing about that. You know, you just hope you hit the jackpot with something you know. You have a nice shirt on there. I know the Greenbelt team that you're playing against has a nice backdrop, and there you can see science, and I can see a couple chemical symbols on there. So you're living and breathing. It's a very nice shirt. Thank you for wearing those. And it looks like Peyton has one as well, and I bet Chloe has one too. She's probably just going to make a different fashion statement here today. Tell us a little bit about what you do in your spare time, Addison.
Well, I'll usually like do art or something or fix something up. I kind of like to sew.
Yeah, those are wonderful things. And what about a career? Have you thought that far ahead?
I've kind of thought of like still making like makeup and cosmetics and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good, because it's important. People want to look good, and because if you look good, you feel good. And that goes hand in hand. So that's a good avenue to pursue. Nice to have you back. And let's talk to Peyton. Peyton, she's our fourth grader here. And Peyton, why did you want to do that? Why did you want to be on our show?
I want to be on Science Bowl because my favorite subject is science, and I really like a good competition.
Wow. And yeah, competition is always good. Keeps you on your toes, and you see how you rank against somebody else. And what do you do in your spare time? Could I ask you?
In my spare time, I'll roller skate or sew.
Wow. Those are wonderful things. Roller skating gets you outside, and sewing teaches patience. And you're obviously a good student because I bet you read a lot and I bet you study a lot because you're doing so well here today. Thanks for being with us, Peyton. All right. We have 9 more questions for you, and they're in the categories Let's Get Physical, Science, Potpourri, and Dateline Science. So if you're ready, Tulip Grove, here is Let's Get Physical for 5 points. The Statue of Liberty wasn't always green. When she was brand new, she was as shiny as a penny. A coin, by the way, made of what same metal as the statue? Copper, that's right, copper. And then it oxidizes and it turns into something called verdigris. That's that green you see. For 15 points, if you could journey to the center of the earth, you'd pass through the crust, where we're right now, through the mantle, through a liquid layer, before reaching the solid core, made up mainly of 2 chemical elements with the symbols Fe and Ni. What are those 2 chemicals you would find in the solid core? Fe and Ni.
Iron and
It's iron and iron. What's it?
Iron is right, and the Ni is nickel. Nickel is the right answer there. Let's move on to the 25-point question, and let's get physical. You know, everywhere we go now, we walk in and someone takes our temperature. They put it right at our forehead or they check our wrist. They take our temperature when we enter by using something called an NCIT, which stands for non-contact what thermometer? What is the I stand for?
What do you guys think?
Non-contact something thermometer.
Can you repeat the question?
The thermometers that they use to take your temperature when you enter public buildings now are known as NCITs, non-contact what thermometers? The I stands for infrared, which is heat. So the heat that comes out is being picked up by that thermometer. All right, let's go to potpourri. A lot of us wear flip-flops in the summer. Turns out that those familiar flip-flop sandals you wear to the beach are mostly made of polyurethane. Now they're being made of algae so that when you're finished with them, they can be recycled. What B initialed word describes the breakdown of something living?
Biodegradable.
Biodegradable. That's it. You got those 5 points. Good answer. Next for 15, I have a visual for you. Here's something I hope you don't see running around your bathtub. This is a silverfish. A silverfish is no fish, but rather a wingless, primitive insect that is born as a nymph and simply molts for the rest of its life, never going through what M-initialed process that can be complete or incomplete in other insects.
Metamorphosis?
That's it. It is metamorphosis. Good answer. Let's go to 25-pointer. You know, Cub Scouts were originally called the cubs of this lupine, L-U-P-I-N-E, cubs of this lupine animal that nurtured Mowgli in Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book.
Wolf.
Wolf is right. You got yourself 25 points there. Good work. 3 more questions. Let's go to Dateline for 5. Scientists are searching for a cheap synthetic substitute for the oil from the fruit of this tree, known for swaying in the breeze on tropical islands. Trouble is, its oil is high in saturated fats.
Palm tree?
Palm tree. Palm tree it is, yes. For 15 points. Just as science is doubted by many people today, they say it's a hoax. This Italian was put on trial for heresy for insisting that the sun was the center of the solar system instead of the earth. He was also excommunicated, kicked out from the Catholic Church for his belief. Who was he?
Galileo Galilei.
You got it. It is Galileo. Perfect. And I appreciate the last name too. Here's your 25-point Dateline question, the last one in the game. Thomas Hunt Morgan won a Nobel Prize in Medicine for his genetics research using these insects, whose genes are often quite similar to our own and is often found around our kitchen.
Flies.
Say it again.
Flies.
Be more specific.
House flies.
Not a house fly. We're talking about
Ants.
fruit flies is the right answer there. Fruit flies, as they are indispensable in genetic research. Still a good round for you. Your final tally today is 195 points. Tulip Grove, nicely done. Well, we expected it was going to be a battle of the Titans. 2 evenly matched teams, both outstanding students on the teams, and we knew that it was going to come down to 1 or 2 questions. Our final tally today is Tulip Grove, 195. Greenbelt, 240. Congratulations to Greenbelt. You are going on to the semifinals, and you're going to bring all your green back with you. And I have to say to Tulip Grove, it has been a pleasure having you here today. You couldn't have done any better here. Boy, you played a super game. All of you did here today. So we thank you all for doing this. As I told you before, you didn't have to do this. You volunteered or your teacher recognized talent and said, I want you to represent our school. You should feel very proud of what you did here today. And when people watch you on TV, and they will, they're going to say, boy, that Tulip Grove, that Greenbelt, it's got to be one of the best schools in Prince George's County because they've seen you and what you can do. So congratulations to you. Thank you, coaches. Thank you, principals. And thank you, assistant principals that are out there. And we hope to see you back again on Science Bowl next year when we are back in the studio. And a tip of the hat to Mr. Allen, the coach down there at Tulip Grove. And over there, Ms. Hollinsworth, the wonderful coach at Greenbelt. I know how hard you work to make this happen here today. We've got Ms. Stagg here, Sherelle Stagg from Greenbelt. We have Miss Gaines, and we also have Miss Jamie Coffin-Witten here. Thank you so much all for being here. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave Zarin. Until then, enjoy. Bye-bye.